Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is March 25th, 2025, and there's currently a discrepancy between Barcelona and their auditor, which could affect the club's financial fair play come this summer. Also, bad news in regards to Pau Cubarsi, as it's looking like he could be ruled out from the match against Osasuna. And finally, Mingueza could either generate decent amount of money for Barcelona, or Barcelona could end up missing out on this money if he does end up renewing. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin this video by discussing Mateo Laos, because Clos Gomez has fired shots at the former referee for some statements that Laos made a couple of weeks ago. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain it to you. Don't worry, but we all know who Mateo Laos is. In my opinion, one of the worst referees in the history of La Liga. Of course, he is retired now, but he was someone who was very, very controversial, made so many bad calls throughout his career, someone who cost Barcelona a La Liga trophy. I explained this in a previous video where Laos actually admitted to making a mistake, which did end up costing Barcelona a La Liga title. Someone who always made it about himself when he reffed matches. He liked to be in the spotlight, and as such, he was a horrendous referee, someone who I celebrated when he announced his retirement. And while now Mateo Laos is a commentator, getting invited to sports programs to spout nonsense pretty much, because that's what the kind of person that he is. Now, on March 17th, after the match between Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid, Mateo Laos, of course, was not too happy with how Barcelona was able to pull that comeback, and he made some statements about the referee that had reffed that match, and he said the following: "It's a shame for him, in this case, not to have been a client. Those who were clients today in UEFA are doing much better." Now, if you don't know what he is talking about, he was referring to Negreira's son, because Negreira's son has a company, kind of like a consulting company that helps referees, get better, or helps train referees. And well, Mateo Laos saying that, and every referee that had hired the son of Negreira, all of a sudden, they are doing better now in UEFA, kind of like implying like there's some kind of corruption there, that if you hire Negreira's son as a ref, you are going to become, an important referee within UEFA, which is funny because that's how idiotic this Mateo Laos is. He doesn't even realize the implication of his words, because, when Negreira's son was active and had that company, which is the period of time that Mateo Laos is referring to, Laos was a referee as well, and he was also a UEFA referee. So Mateo Laos is implying that the only Spanish referees who became successful in UEFA were, corrupt referees that had to use Negreira to become successful. But you too, Mateo Laos, was successful in UEFA. So are you implying that you were also a corrupt referee? I mean, this is how stupid this guy is. He doesn't even realize the implications of his words. Now, Clos Gomez has fired shots back at Laos for what he said. If you don't know who Clos Gomez is, he is the head of the VAR at the CTA, at the Committee of Referees. And this is what Clos Gomez had to say about Mateo Laos. "I was his friend. Now he seems like a meme to me. All he does is criticize for the sake of criticizing. He's resentful with the CTA. It's a shame. He was a great referee. We could call him special one for everything he did, but the players understood him. Right now, he's in the process of defamation against the former president of the referees, Velasco Carballo, and the current one, Medina Cantalejo, and he doesn't hold a candle to them, especially as a person. That someone with that resume hasn't been called by the Royal Spanish Football Federation, nor UEFA, nor FIFA. He should take a look at himself. It hurts me a lot about Mateo, but when he leaves and they start lying blatantly. We are in the worst moment of Spanish refereeing because of the Negreira case. That a former referee who has been here, who knows the truth, that this man didn't matter. So Clos Gomez being harsh with Mateo Laos, calling him a meme. Because, of course, Mateo Laos now, he's retired. He's not about, referees being corrupt and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you were part of that referee body. So if you say those referees were corrupt, that means that you were also corrupt. But again, Laos either is too stupid to understand the implications of his words, or simply he's just pandering because, of course, as I mentioned in previous videos, Florentino Perez is trying to make Mateo Laos the new head of the CTA, because the current head of the CTA, Cantalejo, someone that Florentino Perez does not like. So, of course, he prefers his buddy, Mateo Laos, to be in charge of the refs. So, most likely, either Mateo Laos is too stupid to understand implications, or maybe he's just pandering to Florentino Perez, or who knows, maybe both. Because back in January, Mateo Laos clearly came out and said there was no corruption under Negreira. Negreira didn't pay anyone. He didn't influence the competition. But now, all of a sudden, making these new accusations. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have discrepancies currently with their auditor that they hired, and this could affect Barcelona's financial fair play. Now, as you know, Barcelona sold the rights to VIP seats at the new Spotify Camp Nou during December. They they're set to earn 100 million euros from two Middle Eastern investors. And that's what Barcelona used to achieve the 1-to-1 rule. And while it's reported that La Liga informed Barcelona that, hey, if you hire an auditor, they can, produce a report on how this income could affect Barcelona's revenues, then we'll have no problem in approving this deal for summer and giving you, a better financial play in the summer. And this is where the problem comes, because Barcelona fired their former auditor. They've hired a new company, and this new auditor has, studied all the Barcelona's finances, financial statements, the contract of this deal. Now this company is saying that, well, the way Barcelona are calculating the revenue from this deal should not be calculated that way. It should be calculated differently, because after all, this income is coming from VIP seats which have yet to be used. The Spotify Camp Nou is still closed. So the auditor, Barcelona's auditor, is telling Barcelona, you can't count this as income the way you want it to count it. Therefore, we cannot sign off on this agreement. And if we can't sign off on this agreement, then La Liga will not approve it. So we're going to have to see what happens between Barcelona and this auditor. Is the auditor eventually going to cave and just sign off on it? Or is Barcelona going to end up firing him and hiring a new one? We don't know, but this could definitely have serious implications this summer as far as the financial fair play. And, well, that's what happens when you do things half-assed, when you do them last minute. Because let's not forget, Barcelona knew they weren't going to be able to register Dani Olmo back in the summer, but instead, Laporta waited till 3 days before the deadline on December 27th to finalize this deal, and it's just been a problem after problem after problem, because this is what happens, again, when you half-ass things and you do them last minute just to, put out the fire, because that's what Laporta's been doing, just putting out fire after fire instead of planning ahead, hiring a CEO to help him plan ahead and actually come up with a plan on how to do things correctly. Instead, he just, pulls rabbits out of the hat and just prays to God that it works. Anyways, let's move on to more bad news, because, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Pau Cubarsi could be ruled out for the match against Osasuna. Now, as you know, Pau Cubarsi received a knock to his right ankle during the Netherlands versus Spain match in the FIFA international break. He had to be subbed out at the 41st minute. Then he was released from Spain's concentration and came back to Barcelona. He underwent exams which confirmed that he did have an injury to his right ankle. Of course, he was going to receive conservative treatment, and then he was going to be subjected to tests to see how he's doing. And, well, today, Pau Cubarsi did not train with the team, which means that he's still not fully recovered. He will undergo more tests tomorrow, and if he doesn't pass them, if he still has discomfort like he is doing now, he still has discomfort, then most likely Cubarsi will be ruled out for the match against Osasuna, because after all, the match against Osasuna is the day after tomorrow. So if tomorrow Cubarsi is not feeling well, it's just not going to be enough time for him to recover. Now, the good news is that, of course, we do know that Iñigo Martinez will be fit for that match. And the other good news is that today, Ronald Araujo did not play with Uruguay against Bolivia. So that's definitely good news. Of course, Araujo did play the full match against Argentina, which Uruguay lost 1-0. Today, Uruguay drew against Bolivia 0-0 in La Paz, which is very high altitude. And Araujo did not play at all. So that's really good news, because means he will be rested for the match against Osasuna. Of course, right now, Rafinha is playing with Argentina against Brazil. Sorry, with Brazil against Argentina. The last time I checked the score, it was 3-1. Argentina were winning. And then since this match is the match against Bolivia were a few hours earlier, it's reported that Araujo will fly to Buenos Aires. And from there, Araujo, Rafinha, and other Madrid and Atletico Madrid players will catch a private charter back to Spain. So it looks like Araujo could be, available for the match against Osasuna. Since we know Inigo will be as well, then maybe we'll have our two defenders right there, with Cubarsi most likely sitting this one out. Anyways, let's end this video with the news that, ladies and gentlemen, Celta are trying to extend the contract of Oscar Mingueza. Now, the 25-year-old right back has been having a spectacular season with Celta. He's even had his call-up with the Spanish national team. So far, he has scored 3 goals and provided 5 assists as a right back, which is pretty good numbers. And as such, Celta are very, very happy with him. They are looking to extend his contract past its expiration date in 2026. But of course, there are other clubs who are interested in signing Mingueza. And of course, as far as Barcelona, they much prefer that Mingueza be offloaded, because Barcelona still own 50% of the rights of the player. So if Celta offload him, Barcelona make half of that. If he ends up renewing, Barcelona will not make any money. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep, of course, I'll keep track of the situation, and I will keep you up to date. That is all for this video. We'll be uploading another video after this one, so don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Discrepancy.